Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pixel Ship Podcast. This is episode 12 on May 6, 2014. As always, I'm joined by Neil Lebo,
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ryan Blandy,
My name is Bruce Wayne.
Joel Hartlob,
Hiya.
and myself, Ryan Hayes. Together we make up the ship. We make up the crew of the Pixel Ship. It can be found at pixelship.net. We've got reviews and kind of write-ups on different games we've been playing and the podcast you're listening to now. So as always, we usually talk about what we've been playing throughout the week. So Ryan, what have you been playing this week?
Team Fortress!
Playing a lot of Team Fortress?
No.
Oh, okay. You've been playing anything other than your requisite hat gathering?
No.
Sweet.
Nothing at all. All right. All right, Joel, how about you? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I have a legitimate confession to make.
That is?
I did something absolutely terrible yesterday,
Uh-oh.
and I'm pretty ashamed about it. But
Did you reopen a WoW account?
I did.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no!
I did.
Oh, how many hours did you put into that already?
Like maybe 3. Not
Oh,
that
that's
much.
Not terrible.
No, but
Well,
I was
the day
feeling the
is young.
itch, and
So what caused you to come back?
every once in a while, I mean, it's been almost a year, but every once in a while, probably about the same
He's an
time
addict.
every year, you start to get the itch a little bit, like the
Are they
Oh,
still
man,
doing
heroin.
updates?
I wonder how this is going. What's that?
Are they
Like
still-
heroin.
Are they still doing updates? Are they still adding new content? That Mr. Pandaria thing is pretty old now, isn't it?
That game's not dying. I mean,
It's
people might say it's dying, but it still has a lot of users.
Dead in my eyes.
So, like, are you a big tough dude? Like, when you sign on, does your friends list still active? And people are like, "Oh my
absolutely
God,
not.
it's fucking Joel."
Absolutely not.
Wow.
It's not. It's not like walking into Cheers.
No, it's not. No,
As
it's
Ross
pretty
Perot
dead.
knows your name.
I mean, I was looking at my friends list, and like the last person that was on was like 9 days ago,
Oh,
and
geez.
That's still within a month.
Yeah, I
There's
mean-
someone's still playing.
still though the next closest was like 26 or something like that. I don't know. It's not. I know. Like I talked to some of the people that I've played with before. Just like actually the guy that got me back into it last year. Every once in a while I'll talk to him, and really
He's a
I
drug
think
dealer.
not quite, but really the big draw right now is they are coming out with a new expansion in the future here.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be by the end of the year, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Takes you
and-
back in the past.
It looks kind of cool, and that's usually about the time when I really start to want to get back into it. The problem is, at this point, I don't have any characters that are anywhere near the max level, and I have 3 expansions worth of content that I haven't even played through yet.
So when these expansions come out, I know there was like the Cataclysm or whatever, and that
Uh-huh.
dramatically changed the world. But are they
Uh-huh.
like adding like islands, or are they populating areas? Like, how do you incorporate
Well,
that?
The first expansion, Burning Crusade, they went back to Outland, which was where the orcs originally came from. It was like another world.
Okay.
Um,
Go through
Right.
the portal, and that's
Right.
Exactly. You went
Okay.
through the dark portal and went to Outland, the orcs' homeworld, which was shattered.
Okay.
And it was. Then the next one was Northrend, which is the northern continent of Azeroth, which is the world that this stuff takes place in.
Mhm.
And that was where the Lich King was hanging out. And so it's basically like Antarctica, except maybe not. More like, I don't know, Scandinavia.
Game of Thrones, Beyond the Wall kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it. Because it was mostly. The idea was that the Lich King was this, like, super powerful guy who controlled the Scourge, which is the undead, except not the Forsaken undead, which are the Horde people. So.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? Cataclysm. What was. I can't remember his name. Nelfarion. I can't remember his. Deathwing. Deathwing. That's his nickname.
Okay.
He, came to
Yeah.
town and pretty much fucked everything up.
You fucked
I
it up.
remember seeing stuff like, "Remember this farm? It's now on fire." Like,
Yeah. Which was kind of cool, and
It
I don't
was
know.
cool.
it was
I imagine if
the
you
reason
played in the world for a while to have
Yeah.
everything kind of upturned would be very interesting.
that was the reason they did it. I mean, they wanted to kind of give people that a reason to level characters again, like new characters.
Level them characters.
Plus, they just released they released 2 new races again, and they wanted something fresh for the people that were playing those races to be able
very
to
fresh.
go through.
All right.
And then Mr. Pandaria added the fucking Pandaria lands, which, in my opinion,
Panda
kind of.
time.
I haven't really played through any of them, but I think it's kind of fucking stupid because it was like the whole turtle thing. Added another continent and all that
Turtles?
shit. Yeah. Well, basically, the pandas lived on the back of a turtle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I love
And-
pandas.
And then,
Everyone loves
like, some shit happened, and the turtle, like, became a new continent, pretty much. It just
Right.
became stationary. I think it died. I don't really remember.
Someone killed the turtle.
And then, now the new one, Warlords of Draenor, is actually, like, I think it's gone back in time to when Draenor,
Back
Outland,
in the time.
before it was actually shattered in,
Back in Warcraft.
before it was actually shattered, was it Tides
1
of
and
Darkness?
2.
Yes.
All right, we're dedicating a lot of time to you explaining the entire plot of
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. But
It's good time.
do you play it for the story? Like, is that your main driver for playing the game, or is it that
no,
like
not
that
really.
that crack? Oh, I got a level. Oh, I got a new equipment.
I
kind of
can't
thing?
really explain
I'm
it.
a real
honestly.
American.
I mean, it's just like, the same reason I pop in Counter-Strike. It's not that it's anything necessarily new maps or new guns or anything. It's just this is something that's familiar and I enjoy doing. Like, I
Yeah.
kind of understand that.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'll probably play it for a month. I'll
Yeah.
probably play it for a month, maybe 2, and then be done with it. And, doing other stuff, playing other games that I should be playing right now instead of World of Warcraft. But
Dragon Age 2.
sure.
So is
Right
that
on.
what you spent the majority of your time with your rekindled addiction?
Oh, I mean, like I said, I only started it last night, and I mean, once again, still playing Hearthstone. I think that game's fun.
I still
think
need
that was
to give that a try.
honestly, I think that was probably what really started to bring the itch about.
A reintroduction to the lore and the world.
Yeah, I mean, even though not really, because it's just fucking cards, but
Well, familiar characters and
Yeah.
areas and stuff.
Is that really what you think did you in playing
do.
that card game? Yeah.
I do.
Well, then that's fucking genius. If a free-to-play
Yeah.
card game got you to spend another
Yeah.
$15 on a subscription or whatever it is.
That's very true, and that might be part of their intention there. Not,
Hey, you probably forgot about World of Warcraft, but now you're paying attention to Blizzard stuff again, so you should probably fire up your account.
It's an interesting side effect. My problem is whenever I do this, whenever I come back in, because they change things all the time and all stuff. I never have any idea how to play the characters I already had, so I end up starting new ones, and that's what fucking annoys me about it.
It's a
'cause-
big uphill battle to try
Yeah.
to get to where you were.
Exactly. So I just one of these times I just need to suck it up and start with my highest character and get that character to level 90 and just be good to go. Like my highest character I think is 71 or 72.
But that's kind of the appeal of those games, isn't it? Taking a character, from a really low level and kind of building him into this big, powerhouse.
Yeah, it's true. And but the reason I do it that way is because it's a lot easier to figure out how to play the class again by playing through the actual game from start to finish as opposed to just looking at the 90 different fucking abilities you have and trying to figure it out from there.
I got pissed off today because I went to the game store and I have a SteelSeries Shift keyboard, so it's the one that you can swap out the key sets.
Okay.
And they had a World of Warcraft key set, and I was like, all right, well, let's see how much this is. And it was still $30, which is how much they cost retail. Like, how much they initially were was $30. It pissed me off to no end. How nobody has a Shift keyboard anymore, and nobody plays World of Warcraft. Where do they get off? That's it.
I don't know. I've looked at keys. I have a mechanical keyboard, and I've looked at new key sets, and those are like $50 for anything decent. For some reason, specialty keys are very expensive. I mean, I guess it's not mass produced. It's not.
Right, I guess. Well, but that was those World of Warcraft.
I
Key
think
sets
I
for the
remember what
ships?
you're talking about. They made like Call of Duty ones and all that stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think they came out with a Diablo 3 one for like a week. and it didn't sell. Anywho, sorry,
All
Joe.
right, Joel. Was there anything else you were playing other than the WoW and presumably Dragon Age?
No, not really.
All right. How about you, Neil? What have you been playing this week?
I played far too much. Okay, I'm gonna try to go quick. I played. These are all Super Nintendo games. So I played Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Densetsu
RPG or fighter?
RPG.
Okay.
Much more interesting than any other RPG I've played so far.
Is that because you like the lore, or is it because?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Was that the
Yeah, 'cause-
SNES one?
Yeah.
Okay, so like you had to get it translated and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Right.
Because I played it before. It is fun.
It's freaking awesome.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I've ever played any of the Dragon Ball Z RPGs.
It's good. Well, I mean, I would invest a
Is it
little bit of time.
turn-based? Like, what's
There's
the
one-
combat like?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is turn based. It's but I mean, you get to choose. Like, you get to say, all right, you're playing as Piccolo and Goku fighting Goku's brother Raditz, and you get to choose like do a Kamehameha to his face. You know, like I don't know. It's just pretty cool. It brings me into a world that I at least have an interest in.
Yeah,
that's
and some
something that-
familiarity with, you know.
Right,
it's-
and something that's iconic, something that shaped my youth to some extent. So
If you
Yeah.
like that, and you have a DS, there's actually one for DS that was pretty good. It was just the Saiyan Saga, which was
Okay.
the fight between, from Raditz. Actually, it was a little bit before Raditz, all the way up to Vegeta and Nappa,
Okay.
and it was
Okay.
pretty good.
yeah, I'll have to check that out. That's
I
awesome.
have it. I actually have it, but
Oh shit!
it's good stuff. If you-
All right, and next, all right, this is one I'll save that for last because that one actually matters. Prince of Persia original, played it, fucking hate it.
Oh,
fucking
for
worst
Super
game.
Nintendo.
Yeah, fucking terrible, fucking
Well-
so terrible. I fucking hate it. I hate it. I hate it so bad.
I mean, when that came out for the PC, that was some of the best animation and kind of innovative platforming. Like that was a game that, yes, looking back at it, is not great now, but kind of made a lot of moves that were not made before that game.
I've never played with wonkier controls either. Like the controls are god fucking awful. I could fuck my computer and make a better game than that. It's
But you didn't.
terrible.
I mean, you're looking at it at a time. That's like playing SimCity on Super Nintendo and saying that SimCity is a piece of crap game. It's like when that game came out on the computer, it was astounding.
Okay. Well, it sucks dick on Super Nintendo.
I mean,
Fair enough.
I played it too, and it's fucking hard and
Fair enough.
bad.
Yeah, but the controllers are the most non-intuitive things in the world. The jump, in particular, it just your jump seems to change how long it takes to do every.
Well,
every
yeah,
time.
it's the concept of inertia and all that stuff. But yeah,
Hate it. All right. Anyway,
that's fair.
and then I played AD&D Eye of the Beholder. Pretty decent fucking game. Like really true to AD&D too.
Is that
it-
like the frame by frame dungeon crawling, where
Right,
it's like
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
first person?
Yeah.
I love those games. I was telling Joel, you might like it too. Then, oh gosh, I already forgot the name of it. Joel, what's
Is it
that game I keep
Is it
telling you about?
Shadowgate? Because I love Shadowgate.
It's not Shadowgate. I don't know. I'll look it up and we'll.
I don't know what you're telling. I don't know what you were telling me.
It's
about.
that old style dungeon crawler, but it's a modern one. I'll look it up. Keep going, Neil.
All right. Next, it was probably the last one, and this one I devoted the most amount of time to. And this is one of the first games in recent memory that Aaron literally sat down beside me and watched me play, like for hours, just getting excited with it. And it was Super Star Wars. Man,
Super
is
Star
that-
Wars is a great game.
Is
Which
that
one?
not
Mhm.
the king of that console? I got to be honest. Like, I've probably played, I don't know, 30, 35 games so far on the console, and I have not. As far as pixel illustration goes, it is masterful.
The animation
Like
is
the
great.
textures in the game are brilliant and alive. Down the sand
I
dunes,
like the other two.
everything.
You played the first one.
I played the first one. Yeah, I'm gonna
Are
beat
you
the
gonna go
first.
through and play the trilogy then?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Empire's way better. You start out with a lightsaber time
And a Tauntaun.
and a
I didn't-
tauntaun.
I honestly have only ever played the original one. And I thought-
I've
it was
played
pretty
all
awesome.
three of them briefly.
Wicked
I
hard.
also like
Yeah.
like,
Return
in the
because
face
you get to be
hard.
Wicket.
Yeah, you
But-
play games for different reasons than I play them.
I love
fine.
playing Ewok.
He plays games for different reasons than anybody plays.
Yeah. I don't think that being an Ewok would ever get me to play a game.
It's totes and dorbs.
So, the Star Wars games have a password system, right? Like, is there any
Correct.
feasible way to play that game on, the stock lives it gives you, or are you just kind of writing down passwords?
I have, well, truth be told, I'm emulating it. So I have been saving,
Okay.
but with that being said, I haven't died yet. So
Really?
I guess
Not
so.
possible.
I remember those games being pretty.
Yeah, they're
difficult.
wicked hard, man.
It's wicked hard. Like, I'm not that far. I'm not past. Well, no, that's not true. I've died, but I haven't used a continue yet.
Okay.
I'm
And you pick up extra lives and stuff throughout the
right.
game.
Like
it's
I'm
not...
past the Rancor, past the fucking speeder part, which is amazing. Like, as far as the what is that called? What's Luke's car called?
Oh, yeah, Land Speeder.
Land speeder.
Yeah, where it's your fucking Mode 7 shit.
Right. And it's epically that part there is the hardest part. Like,
I'm trying to think of a Mode 7 game that I actually enjoyed. I always feel like those parts of games are just like, I don't want to do this.
no, I liked it. I definitely dug on it. And it's partially just because it looks so good for
The art
like
is incredible for it.
for yeah, exactly. For what they're dealing with, they knock it out of the park. Like, I've never seen a second gen game look that good. It never. So that's it. That's what I've played.
So you're definitely going to play through all of those. Oh, and Legend
shit,
of
yeah.
Grimrock is the game I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that
I gotcha.
Steam game?
It's on Steam. It's a modern version of your kind of Ultima kind of.
Yeah. It's been on Steam sale multiple times, and I look at it often, but I've never actually pulled the trigger, sheerly because I feel that I don't know. I don't know if those kind of games translate well. Do you think that they do?
If you like that style of game, and you like kind of the dungeon crawling, the time I have put into that game, I have really, really enjoyed. A lot of it too is like you'll go up to a wall and you'll see kind of like an out of place rock, and you press on it, and like a wall slides away. Like it for as kind of bare bones as the moving is and everything, the trap system and kind of how you navigate like pressure plates and stuff like that. They do a really, really good job of reliving the best of those games.
Well, then we'll have to try it.
Yeah.
That'll just be something we'll do.
All right. So that's pretty much it for you. Just a lot of Super Nintendo stuff.
Should load a Super Nintendo. I did buy that Katamari game that you all love so much.
Katamari Damacy.
Yeah,
Which
and
one?
I'm gonna try it.
The
The PS2, I guess, is the first one.
Yes,
right?
that is one.
Well,
of my
like
favorite
there's
games
two
of
on
all
the
time.
PS2. There's Katamari Damacy, and then We Love Katamari.
Well, it's the first one.
They're great, and the King of the Cosmos is wonderful.
Yeah, except for being a horrible person and
You're
destroying everything.
Not a person. He's King of the Cosmos.
He's king of the cosmos and also king of destroying everything.
He's kind of a dick.
He's the destroyer of all the cosmos.
Well, then I want to hear your impressions on Katamari when you play it, because
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I still haven't. I really want to give Super Nintendo its due. So I haven't fired up PS2 yet.
Super
So
Nintendo's a great system.
I'm gonna give it a good amount of time. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, this week I've been playing a lot of handheld games. Not on my phone. I got Mario Golf World Tour.
Oh, how dare you!
And played the shit out of it. I picked it up because I was talking to my friend Nate, and he was talking
You're
about
ridiculous. I
how
can't
much he
believe you did.
enjoys them. I picked it up, and I've been playing it nonstop. My only kind of complaint is that it is a bit short. The game was only $30, which isn't terrible for a 3DS game, but it is kind of in the service of trying to get you to buy their DLC, which I don't really know how I feel about that. But I will probably end up buying
What,
it
them
because you get
Nintendo
more courses.
Evolving?
And... What?
What, Nintendo evolving?
Yeah, it's just it's not something I'm used to buying DLC for my Nintendo games. I'm used to.
Didn't they used to sell cards? Wasn't
They
that
had those like scan cards for the Game Boy Advance. Is that what you're talking
no,
about?
no. I mean Nintendo originally. Their original company wasn't it cards?
Mm.
Didn't they sell like cards, like
Hanafuda
collectible cards?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They sold novelties. They sold a bunch of stuff. But yeah, it was board games and Hanafuda cards.
Yeah.
Then they
Well,
got into the Game and Watch stuff.
So they were early on to this whole kind of buying junk thing. I don't know. Fuck them. Let them make a fucking profit. I don't.
Oh, yeah,
I got no problem with it.
Like I said, it's weird. It's unusual. You know, I'm used to playing an EA game and be like, give us $10 for this suit or whatever. But at least Nintendo being Nintendo, the DLC is $15 and it's quite a bit of content. It basically doubles the amount of content in the current game.
See, that is kind of fucked too. That it comes out when
Day
the
one.
game comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's balls. That
Yeah.
does kind of suck. Why isn't it part of the game?
Because it's developed separately. It's developed as a way to get an extra $15. And that way you can sell an item at $30. More people will buy a $30 item, than if the game was
At a
$45 out of the gate. It is what it is, but the game is fantastic. It plays really well. It uses kind of the manual hitting mechanic, from the newer games, the GameCube games. The levels look great. The 3D is nothing stands out. The game itself looks really good, but I don't think the 3D really helps you too much as far as kind of figuring out kind of the lay of the turf or the green. So I wouldn't say the 3D is really what sells it. But they do a really good job of kind of keeping you going, and so they have the main courses that you play against, Mario and Peach and all of them. But then they have national, global tournaments. So there's kind of two ladders you can get in and kind of play against everyone's top scores. And then they have kind of modifier ones where, like, play 6 holes with random golf clubs. So there's enough there that kind of you don't really get sick of the levels. There's 3 main 18-hole courses and then 3 9-hole courses that are like weird Mario worlds, like Yoshi and Peach, where they have like speed-up tracks and stuff like that. So it gets a little weird, but I just really, really enjoying my time with it. I might do it.
Well, okay. With this game, can you and Nate play against each other?
Yeah, that's why I picked it up. We can play online.
All right.
Sitting in our apartments and kind of messing around. We haven't tried it yet. We're planning on doing it this week, hopefully. And I'll report in on how the fabled Nintendo multiplayer works. 3DS multiplayer, I haven't had too much trouble with. It's not like the Wii, but Nintendo does not necessarily have the best track record when it comes to setting up multiplayer games. And other than that, I've been playing. We'll stick with handheld for now. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core for the PSP. It's a bit of an older game. It is. It's really, really weird.
Good story.
I've been playing it, Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation as well, just kind of here and there. And decided to pick up Crisis Core, and the way the story is kind of a prequel, but everything, obviously it's a newer game, so everything looks a lot better, but the combat system has a slot machine where you get like random power-ups, and the level ups seem random. It kind of seems like it's scrolling through these things and then you level up. It's not on how many guys you kill. But
Yeah.
I guess the law of averages is if you fight more, battles, you have a better chance of, getting a level up slot. It's just a really weird Final Fantasy game. It's really unlike anything I've played in that series. But the characters are really interesting. The story is really interesting if you're into the Final Fantasy VII story. And it was super cheap. But I'm enjoying that. Like I said,
Is it the same? Is the same game just updated, or
No, it's a prequel. So
Oh.
I don't know how into Final Fantasy VII you are, but you play Zack, which was Cloud's mentor, technically.
Yeah, I have no idea.
He was his war buddy.
Yeah, like there's a whole. I'm not going to get into it because it's really long and it's kind of a spoiler.
It's very spoilers.
But it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. But gorgeous, cutscenes. Like everything looks really, really good on the tiny PSP screen.
Sweet.
And then I also have been playing the shit out of Saints Row. Finally, Joel
wore you down.
gifted me a copy of
Gifted?
the new.
I owed him some money.
Yeah, but that game is everything I want out of a Saints Row game. It does such a great job of breaking itself within an hour of that game.
Yep.
So, Saints Row 3 is kind of a wackier Grand Theft Auto clone, and this is just clearly their vision of fuck Grand Theft Auto, now you're basically a superhero, and you don't need fucking cars. After an hour into that game, I don't think I've touched a car except for like a couple times.
Absolutely
not.
Absolutely not.
And it's just a lot of fun. And like even the missions that I hated, like the side missions, which were the like insurance fraud where you have to get hit by a car. When you have fucking superpowers and a dubstep gun and all these like really weird fucking batshit insane things, absolutely every grindy aspect of that game is just delightful. I don't have an unkind word to say about that game other than I feel like there is too much to do, and I feel like I'm going to have to do every goddamn thing in that game.
I pretty much did. I don't think I got gold in every mission, but I did every fucking thing that I could.
Nice.
Except all the collection shit. I never do that stuff.
I guess the only other negative thing I can say is it is the same city as, or the same world as Saints Row the Third, just with a slight twist on it. But it's always night, and it
That's not true. There's daytime.
is there?
Yeah, there is.
Maybe I haven't gotten that far. But there's not enough in the world. Like I played a lot of Saints Row the Third, so there's not enough in that world to kind of impress me the way Saints Row the Third did. And that's maybe not a fair concession because everything else about that game is extremely entertaining, and I'm only a couple hours in, so maybe some things open up or some things change. The way the plot is kind of broken down, they can change pretty much anything in that game, and you're just gonna be like, okay, we're gonna do this now then.
It's definitely in probably my top 5. I'll be honest.
It is just completely insane in all the good ways. It is, and like those Grand
And
Theft
all the
Auto,
bad ones too.
It managed to break itself and still be fun is what I think I find impressive about that game. Is everything you do in that game is super easy. Like every kind of combat I've gotten into or mission I had to do, there was no challenge, but I had a blast doing it. When I can just call in a tank and, a couple friends and just wipe everything out, I still had a great time, and it didn't necessarily feel like I was cheating. It felt more like, look, they gave me all these tools because they, just want this to be a fucking wild time. And it's fantastic. I'm sorry I waited as long as I did, but I can give that a fucking glowing endorsement. As far as I am into it now, that game is.
I've been telling you guys.
Delight to play.
I've
If you
been saying
like
it for
open
months.
world games, it is not serious at all. It is stupid and silly and immature and crude and it's not necessarily poorly written.
It pays homage to a lot of things too.
Yeah, it's very self-referential, very video game referential. Leans very heavily on the Matrix and movies of the
and
like.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, so
Actually.
the game is just a lot of fun. And that's weird to say. Like it's there are fun parts of games, but I don't think since Skyrim, I have had as much fun with just the tools I had and the world I was presented with.
Here's the question you need to ask yourself as to whether or not you feel as though you should play Saints Row 4. Does the idea of hitting someone in the nuts with a dildo bat and sending them flying into the air, does that appeal to you?
But that can be said about
That excites you.
That can be said about Saints Row 3, and not saying it's not that I don't like Saints Row 3, but Saints Row 4 is just more fucking fun.
I'm not even talking about just like you pop them, like you send them flying.
Sure.
That was actually like that was probably one of my favorite things to do, was to just run around, do like the super speed thing, and just like melee people, because you would do all the crazy shit, and every once in a while you would literally just punch someone in the nuts and just send them fucking skyrocket. And like I would literally, I probably would spend like 15-20 minutes just like in a fight, just going around doing that, because I thought it was hilarious.
It is just juvenile and wonderful video game
Absolutely.
fun.
For the kid at heart.
It's
for the kid at heart and the gross adult and your dreams.
I just can't get over how I don't care about the game. Like, it is almost a toy at a certain point.
Well,
like,
it is a toy.
There's story and there's plot and, there's the video game, but that is all just icing on just a really fun game.
Yeah, it's like your first 3 hours in GTA 3.
Yeah, we're like, oh, I can do whatever I want. I can run around. That's really fair. That is kind of the same. Like, the first time you were presented with an open world, you mean, oh, I don't need to go down this hallway and hit this checkpoint. I can drive in the opposite direction, and that's perfectly acceptable. Like, you have that, but you just have so many tools and weird options at your fingertips, and the game does nothing to stop you from using them.
Well, I guess now I have another fucking game I gotta play. This is
I actually kind of want to go back and play it again now.
It is an easy game to be excited about, and if you like the open world kind of GTA-esque games, this is
GTA mixed with.
I think
like,
one of the cool perks about that game too is like the level of customizability, not just for your character, but for your cars, for your clothing, like all that shit. Like the level of customizability for everything almost is insane, and I think that's another huge reason I love it.
And I think the new Grand Theft Auto did that pretty well too, but again, it doesn't serve the game overall. Like that, the customizing your character in that game is super fun. Like giving him a belly and making him look like Dolly Parton. Like it's you can go the full 9 and you just have everything up front. Where Grand Theft Auto is still kind of like, hey, it's kind of a weird game, but it's still very serious. Like, we have a story to tell. This is like, yeah, we're gonna tell you a story, but go hit this guy in the face with the dildo bat.
Yes.
So, not to change the subject, has anyone played Watch Dogs?
No, because it's not out.
Oh, there's no demo or anything.
No, it's coming out soon though.
Oh, shows what I know.
The more I see about the game, it looks interesting. I don't know.
It's Assassin's Creed in the modern age.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm ready for one of those yet.
I've played Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs is a great fucking game.
Which is
I've had some dogs.
Which is True Crime Streets of Hong Kong.
Yes, it is. Was for a very long time. But that is Grand Theft Auto as a kung fu movie.
Yeah.
If you like kung fu, if you like bad fucking
I know kung fu.
Chinese kind of crime plots, that is another game that is.
Why you gotta preface it with bad? Why is kung fu bad? I don't get it.
Because the plots are not always excellent.
Have you ever seen Legend of the Drunken Master?
I don't believe
so. It's amazing.
No, I'm not saying all kung fu is bad. I'm saying Sleeping Dogs' plot is not. It's not that it's bad. It is not unpredictable.
I gotcha.
It is a very traditional Hong Kong crime story. But it's good. The characters are really good, and you actually care about kind of most of the people in that game. But yeah, I don't. As for Watch Dogs, I don't know if that's something I'm necessarily sold on, and it's definitely not something I will buy a console for.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, there's still nothing out there. I keep seeing, now that PS4s are in stores and I could buy one today if I wanted it. I don't know if I want it. I don't know what's out there that is asking me to play. Like, I'd really like to try the new Infamous.
Infamous is the only thing that's of warrant on the system right
But again,
now.
that's not a system seller. Like, that's not a
It's a system seller for me.
$400 purchase for, Watch Dogs. But E3's coming up in, what, a month or two?
Few weeks.
How many?
Few weeks.
Few weeks. All right. So, in June, right?
Yeah. It's always
So hopefully we'll get the big lineup for
we'll get the
PS4.
skinny.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not kind of jumping up and down, ready to buy. I'm still also kind of holding out for a bundle. I'd like to buy a console and a game. That's always the ideal way to do it. I managed to do it.
Yeah,
with the
you're
Wii U.
not gonna get a bundle for that thing for a long time.
Well, the Xbox managed to do it already.
Yeah, that's because their sales are abysmal. They gotta do something.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. Like I said, a little bit of Final Fantasy VII. Been popping in some more Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But yeah. And then I guess we have a little bit of news today. There's not a whole lot. Ryan, you said there was something about a new Vita?
There's a new Vita. It's the Vita Slim, baby.
So what is it? Just a smaller form factor? What's the new Slim?
It's smaller. They dumbed down the screen.
Dumbed
Yeah, they
down
did
as in a
dumb down the
lower
screen.
resolution.
No, not a lower resolution. It just isn't. What was the original was?
Basically, the original is an OLED
That's
screen,
it,
and
yeah.
now it's just an LED.
An LED screen, yeah.
So does that change like power consumption? Like what does that mean for the system?
Yeah, it does have a better battery. But
but
it
it's
has
just-
longer battery power.
It's just not
But-
going to look as crisp as
Yeah, it
as
doesn't
bright
look
colors.
as crisp. They even have a comparison video online. Then you can check it out on the YouTubes. Just type it in, you'll get it.
Yeah, that I
And-
would be interested.
Yeah,
in seeing.
you can tell immediately. Like it's not. There is a big difference.
Was there a significant price drop?
Yes and no. Originally, this thing would have kept at its $300 price point, but because it wasn't selling, and it still isn't selling, they dropped it down to $200. So they were losing money with the old system. But now that they've made this slim, now they're going to turn a profit.
But I've seen the original PS Vitas for $200 on sale.
No, what he's saying is they dropped
They
PS
dropped the
Vitas
price.
down.
So
with
that
this-
when these new ones came out, yeah, they're $200.
right, but it's more cost effective the way that they make it. It's supposed to be cheaper feeling. It's more plasticky, less of a solid kind of build.
But now they're giving me less of a reason to buy one of these.
Right, but the battery consumption is better, which was one of people's
okay.
main gripes.
Yeah, I
with
mean, mine uses up batteries all the time. Well, not like it loses its charge.
Uh-huh. How many hours do you usually get out of a Vita?
It depends on how heavy I use it. I mean, like if I'm just watching, videos on it, couple hours. If I'm playing, well, I mean, like regardless, it's gonna give me a couple hours. I would say heavy use 2 or 3 hours.
yeah, which is god awful.
I feel
Yeah,
like 3
and-
hours is reasonable. I think that the Nintendo DS always had like a ridiculous battery life. I don't know. I feel like I'm not
Most
playing.
Nintendo handhelds did though. Like if you remember Game Boy Colors and how they would legitimately last forever.
Well, you had to pay to replace the batteries in those.
Yeah.
They weren't
Right.
rechargeable batteries, so
Unless you bought a rechargeable battery pack like I
unless
did.
you were smart
Right.
and bought a rechargeable
Right.
battery pack.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. The rechargeable battery packs. Last
Yeah,
forever.
I never had one until my my DS.
Yeah. So it's also the new one is lighter, which is gonna matter.
It is
to certain
substantial. Yeah, it is lighter.
people.
Much lighter.
It's supposed to feel a lot better in your hand.
Okay. Well, yeah, a thinner form factor, you know.
Well, they also they also changed a little bit of the form of the system itself.
The
Right.
shape.
Yeah, they changed it a little bit more, I'd say, squarish than oval.
Eh.
I mean, I know Ryan has a Vita, but is anyone else interested in the Vita? Like, I've always kind
No.
of looked at it and been like, oh, that would be an interesting thing to have, but never had a reason to buy one, and they were always outrageously priced, unless they were on clearance.
I am definitely interested in one, sheerly because I don't know. I was burnt by the PSP. I never thought that it was ever fully realized. I think that system.
Well, the Vita's not going to be ever fully realized,
well,
but it's got Persona 4 Golden.
well, once I like rooted or jailbroke my PSP, it was realized.
I was just saying, when I had my PSP, I used it mostly for emulated Nintendo games.
Right, and it is
Like-
amazing at doing stuff like that. It also was great. My beef with Sony is always the same. I don't like that they use proprietary memory cards. I really
No,
actually
and
hate it.
that is one of the biggest turnoffs
Yeah.
for the Vita for me is I'm not paying $200 for a system and then another $100 in memory.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's. I'll give you that.
I think part of it too is you have to look at. I mean, if you want to compare like the DS to the PSP, I mean, or not even that, but just Sony versus Nintendo in general. Nintendo actually pays a lot more attention to its handhelds than Sony would. Sony's
Well, that's
focusing
because it
more on the
prints money.
exactly. Well, not just that, but I mean, you look at like the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3. They're gonna make more money selling games and stuff for that than they would for their Vita, because their Vita just doesn't have the same market that the DS or the 3DS does.
It's a younger demographic. which
Exactly.
is
The
Right.
3DS
very
attracts
handheld.
the younger demographic.
Yeah.
Well, the 3DS attracts the demographic because of fucking Pokemon. And Pokemon is a force to
Hey,
be reckoned with.
Pokemon.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, you got to look at that. Like I mean, honestly,
I love.
I couldn't name you a game for Vita, like a specific a game specific.
Well,
to
in Japan,
Vita.
it's all Monster Hunter. Like, that is what sells that system, is everyone's fucking playing Monster Hunter in Japan, so everyone has a
Monster
Vita.
Hunter.
So, I don't think Vita's in any, like, immediate danger. It's just, the Slim for the same price. Like, if they released the Slim and said it was $150 and it was 32 gigabytes on board, I would probably buy one.
Oh, absolutely. Well, no, I don't know. I do like the hardware of the original Vita. I really like. It's a solid system. It looks
It
great.
is.
It
is
really
a solid
does look
system.
like the future of handheld gaming. Like not anything against Nintendo,
It can stream the PS4
but the
like the Wii U, and it's awesome.
right. But the DS, well, the 3DS, I have zero interest in 3D anything. I think that it's dumb. I think
It's
that
neat.
it's
I
yeah.
agree.
Well,
No,
it's-
I
when
agree with
done
you, Neil.
well, it looks really, really, really good. The new Zelda for the 3DS is some of the best use of the 3D because it's subtle and it's just like, hey, here it is.
You
No,
can
yeah.
turn it off.
Doesn't strain the
then
eye.
it would always be turned off for me. Like a 2DS,
Well, then buy a 2DS.
that makes little sense. That makes more sense to me.
2DS is more comfortable.
It's also cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $129.99.
Yeah,
See,
but
that-
aren't they like I don't know. Don't they look junky? I've never actually held one. Do they?
Oh,
No,
they
no,
look
they're.
weird.
I mean, they're about as chunky as a DS Lite, I would guess. But yeah, they are a lot more comfortable in your hand. They move the buttons up, so you actually have something in your palm. to hold.
Well, yeah.
It's a good system.
I might check it out. But as far as the Vita goes, I think the Vita's gorgeous. I think it outright is a beautiful looking system.
And I think the big appeal for owning a Vita is when you own a PS4. To be
And-
able to,
and
have
that's-
something on the TV and play a game.
That original screen, I when Ryan got his and showed me it, I was jealous, and I had to not let him know that I was jealous.
You were jealous.
Yeah, I was jealous. That screen is friggin' gorgeous. Like I don't think my cell phone has a nicer screen, but that's the first thing I've seen since
Dude,
that.
you just made
Yeah.
Ryan's day.
But it's a nice, high-quality OLED screen, and the fact that they got rid of that.
In the castle.
I mean, they're taking away a big selling point is, oh, look how good this thing looks in a small handheld, and now the newer one is not going to have that option.
No, yeah, I do believe that Sony's really kicking their niche in the dick by doing that. Like I feel like Sony's like the neo cyberpunks would go with like the Vita, you know, like the guys, the technophiles that really want something that performs would go with it. And I feel like, why would you buy the new one?
Well, maybe in their defense, everyone who wanted a Vita has purchased a Vita at this point, and all the people who are not purchasing a Vita don't give a shit, and it just needs to be cheaper for them to even consider it. And maybe that was their conversation. Be like, look, this thing has to be under $200. We can't sell this thing for $300 anymore. It's just not moving units. So
Yeah, that's probably a good call. That does sound feasible, and that's probably what they did.
'cause I feel like the people holding out, waiting, probably bought one when they bought their PS4 and be like, okay, I need my Vita with my PS4. And they all bought, the new ones. But now that, the console's been around and most of the early adopters have kind of gotten their, new consoles and they got their Vita hooked up, everyone else who's left over is probably never going to buy a Vita unless they're given a really damn good reason to. And when
Yeah.
I can get, a year from now, when I can get a Black Friday deal for, $159 with, a bunch of download games and a better memory card, I'm probably going to buy it. I'll probably
yeah.
buy the Slim.
Friday Bundaroo.
Yeah, the Bundaroo. Yeah, we need that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely buy it too. At that point, no, you know what? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait until it's on eBay, and I'm gonna eBay it because
Buy a first gen.
right, and buy a first gen that looks decent.
Yeah,
First Gendaroo.
that's reasonable. All right. Does anybody else have any other news?
Nay, sir.
All right. Well, I guess that will do it for another episode of the Pixel Ship Podcast. As always, I've been Ryan with Joel Hartlaub,
Peace.
Ryan Blandy,
I want to become a woman.
and Neil Lebo.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you all next week.